Silly peasants living in the Dark Ages, never to experience the beauty.
It's caught, touchdown.
Huh?
Fires back to the end zone, it is caught. Lofting, end zone, touchdown. Breaking away, end zone, touchdown. Carr, intercepted.
How did this happen?
Stay frosty and head over to ezmutt.com for the cheapest mutt coins on the market. When I say cheapest, I mean it. We're talking 1 million coins for around $40. Use code DIRECTOR for 5% off. Yo, what up, brothers? It's the Director. Chargers fans. You guys smell that, man? Smells like Victory Tuesday. The Chargers took down the Vegas Raiders on a Monday night showdown. Dudes, what a spectacular game for the Chargers. The ruthless week of heckling by Raiders fans has come to a crashing end, and it's time for the Chargers to bask in the glory of the top of the AFC West. Actually, guys, you want to know something? We're not just at the top of the AFC West, which, of course, a lot of people know at this point. You know, Chargers #1 AFC West, Kansas City Chiefs at the bottom. Who would have thought that at this point of the season, right? But not only that, the Chargers are also the #1 team in the entire AFC conference. Can you guys believe that? This Chargers team has grown so much over the last couple of seasons via coaching and personnel and guys like Justin Herbert that we are now the top team in the entire conference after last night's victory. What a game that was. And it just doesn't mark, this season. This season's been absolutely fantastic. The Chargers continue to trend in the right direction. But this also marks the fifth game in a row that the Chargers have won in the AFC West dating to last season. 5 games in a row. That marks really good things for this Chargers team going forward. And honestly, it speaks to what the Chargers are doing right this season. What a fantastic win that was, man. The Chargers defense was absolutely ruthless and electric. Putting Carr in his butt. That's what I think I'm going to put in the title of this video. This Carr's a lemon. A lot of people chanting Carr MVP. Raiders fans throwing a ton of crap at Chargers fans all week long. And Derek Carr, I think the entire Raiders offense limited to around 50 yards in the first half. How crazy is that? And meanwhile, Justin Herbert continues to build a strong resume as an MVP candidate this season. It's been a fantastic one, guys. I cannot wait to go through all of the thrills and chills of Monday night's game with you guys and unpack what we saw and kind of, give us an idea of where the Chargers are trending for the rest of the season. Now, before we do get started, guys, hit us up with a like and sub if you do enjoy this content. The small amount of time you guys take to hit the like, sub, and bell notification helps me out a lot. Let's get into this video. Lights, camera, action. The Chargers versus Raiders post-game report and Victory Tuesday celebration. Let's start things off by lightly going over some of the stats from last night's game before we start getting into the bolted takeaways from this game. Now, Derek Carr, he did end up coming back around in the second half as they made adjustments. 196 yards and 2 touchdowns and an interception. Not the best night for any quarterback. QBR 56.8. Derek Carr was all over the place last night. We'll get into more of that in just a second. Justin Herbert, 25-38, 222, and 3 touchdowns. Not his best week ever. We'll go ahead and admit that. But at the same time, man, 3 touchdowns, still building a strong resume as a candidate for MVP this season. Now, rushing. This is where Chargers fans have been wanting to see some improvement. And lo and behold, this week, we made it happen. And Austin Ekeler had himself a fantastic week of football. 15 carries, 117 yards. Roundtree, 11 for 31. Guyton, 2 for 20 on some trick plays. Some gadget plays right there. Very, very cool. Meanwhile, the Raiders, 13 for 40 on Josh Jacobs. Carr got a couple, Drake got a couple, and that's about it. What is that? 48 yards for the Raiders offense. Definitely isn't characteristic for them, and the Chargers found a way to make it happen. Chargers fans have been really antsy and worried about the run defense, and this game it really feels like we figured it out. Well, more on that in just a minute, too. This statistic, man, I have something in my back pocket to share with you guys about that, and Austin Ekeler. Oh, such a good game for him. Now, receiving. I think caught a lot of people by surprise. Allen 7 for 36. Mike Williams 1 for 11. I'm sure a lot of fantasy teams were suffering that night too. But the Chargers, where they did shine, Jared Cook and the tight ends, Stephen Anderson, Donald Parham. More on that in just a second, but look at all these touchdowns, all these scores through the air, not using Keenan Allen or Mike Williams. Meanwhile, Henry Ruggs had himself a decent game, 3 for 60. Waller 4 for 50 and a touchdown, and Renfro 6 for 45 and a touchdown. That was mainly all in the second half, I have to remind you guys. The second half, they made some adjustments. They were able to get that ball moving. And outside of that, we got some fantastic plays by the defense, which we'll start breaking down right now in the bolted takeaways. Now, the Chargers. Let's start off with this, man. The defense played one of the best halves of football that I have ever seen. Reminder, limited their offense to 50 yards in the first half. And this is a Raiders team that's been going for, 400 yards per game for the last 8 games. The Chargers, this defense, it's for real. If you're a team in the AFC West not named the Chargers, you are sweating about Derwin James, Joey Bosa, and the rest of the Chargers defense week after week. Because this team continues to show improvements and continues to show that they can shut down pretty much any offense in the NFL, which is insane to say. I think the biggest test being last week versus Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City, and then coming right back at it here at home versus a Derek Carr that's been having a fantastic season, a Raiders offense that's been on fire, and limits them to 50 yards in the first half. If that doesn't show improvement, if that doesn't show what Brandon Staley is doing with this team, I don't know what does. Of course, they did have some struggles in the second half, but they did adjust and ended up getting that win. 4 straight 3-and-outs. You guys remember that? 4 straight 3-and-outs in the first half made my heart so happy. A lot of Chargers fans were hoping to see more efficiency from the Chargers offense in that time. We got to remember the Chargers scored 3 touchdowns in the first half of football. 21 points. Absolutely fantastic. Last note I had right here is there was only 1 first down allowed in the first half of the Chargers defense. Oh my God. I can't imagine the flurry of those Raiders fans that swarmed the stadium that night watching this offense. 4 straight 3-and-outs and only 1 first down in the first half of football. Imagine that sinking feeling, and that's courtesy of the Chargers defense. Now, why was this Chargers defense so effective? Well, let's take a look. Let's take a look at something that I actually pointed out last week in my preview video. I think Derek Carr does have an issue when he does get sacked. Okay, I think when he takes some pressure, when he starts taking some hits, he does end up getting a little bit rattled. The pass rush was the key to this awesome performance for the Chargers. And I'm not the only one that's thinking that. Take a look at what Joey Bosa had to say.
Great dude, great player. He's been having a great year, but we know once you get pressure on him, he kind of shuts down and he's not as effective with the crowded pocket. So that was the key to it.
Joey Bosa's a savage, man. And take a look at him in this picture. If that's not a little man crumbling, I don't know what is. Joey Bosa getting back there. I think that was the play with his strip sack right there. Almost turned into a turnover for the Chargers. Fantastic day for Joey Bosa. He was a little bit heated. We saw a penalty that shouldn't have been called, and we called it out on stream, and he was a little upset after the fact. But other than that, man, he had a fantastic night. He was all over Derek Carr, generating a lot of pressure. Okay? Carr was sacked 4 times in this game with numerous pressures. And you know what? I think that's a huge key to this game. We talked about it. You guys saw it in the clips. As soon as Derek Carr starts getting rattled, starts getting pressured, he's going to start to fold a little bit. He's going to start to become rattled and start to make bad decisions. Hold on to the ball a little bit too long. And the Chargers, we were saying this and actually live in the game as well. When Joey Bosa got in there, or when the first sack actually occurred in, I think, the first quarter, that's exactly when you wanted that to happen. The earlier, the better for the first sack of the game for the Chargers, because that had a long effect, or that had a lasting effect throughout the rest of the game, which honestly was very apparent to me, at least a fan, seeing Derek Carr out there kind of scrambling and panicking. It was really kind of awesome to see this plan become executed so efficiently. And the Chargers defense, not just Joey Bosa, but Jerry Tillery got in there, Kyler Fackrell. There's a lot of people making plays when it came to getting pressure on Derek Carr. And honestly, very, very awesome performance by the Chargers defensive line. And that's really what we've been hoping to see for a while. Now, aside from a few penalties, this defense was firing on absolutely all cylinders, right? This entire defense, especially in the first half, rocked from all 3 levels. Consistent pressure. Linebackers were involved in that pressure. You guys remember that Drew Tranquill got in there a couple of times, free, untouched. The Chargers like rarely blitzed last season, the last couple of seasons, right? And for them to finally start putting out packages like that where we see Drew Tranquil, other linebackers going in free after the quarterback says something about Brandon Staley's defense, the way that he's drawing things up. It's working. And that pressure is going to continue to evolve with this Chargers defense. And the future quarterbacks that we play, starting with Baker Mayfield next week, have to take notice of that. Because we can say all the things that we said about Derek Carr, but it's true for every quarterback in the NFL. We saw some of it with Justin Herbert last night, too. As soon as you start rattling that quarterback, getting to that quarterback and causing pressure, you're going to see some maybe bad decisions made at the level of play for the quarterback position. So I honestly, man, very, very proud of this defense. Not just that, man. We got to talk about the coverage as well. Mike Davis, Asante Samuel, these guys were actually very, very effective last night too. They didn't make any like huge plays, but the biggest thing that I noticed out of them was the tackling. Asante Samuel tackles like a madman. The dude tackles like he's 6'5", 450 pounds, and fast as Superman. He's crazy. He's crazy. He throws everything at the ball carrier. The man's crazy. Mike Davis, also a couple very solid tackles last night too. I was very impressed with the tackling of this team. Very few mistakes all around from this defense. And you know what? A surprise dominant run defense from this Chargers team too. Chargers fans have been kind of worried about the run defense. Sure, it hasn't been the most efficient part of this defense for a while now. But last night, the Chargers, again, limiting the Raiders to 48 yards on the ground, speaks for something. They showed up. Covington was there. Forrest Merrill was there. Joey Bosa, Nwosu, Fackrell, all these guys in there making a big impact on this game against the run. Whatever they're doing, it's working. Because the Chargers looked absolutely awful for the last couple of weeks when it came to the run defense, and they figured something out last night. And I think that has to speak a lot for the coaching. I love this image. Found this image on Google right before the video. I said, okay, we have to put this in the video. Aggressive but not reckless was something that we talked a lot about on the stream last night. P.S. Everybody that showed up at the stream yesterday, you guys are absolutely fantastic. We had like 1,000 people in there. Raiders fans, Chargers fans, everybody spitting off. Such a fun one to witness, again, with so many people in the chat, Chargers fans going crazy. Aggressive but not reckless. Brandon Staley. I have I don't know. I don't have the words to describe how proud I am of Brandon Staley and what he's doing with this team. In the past, we would never have seen some of the decisions that he made. I think he went for it on 4th down 3 times, and it paid off. He understands the concept of risk and reward. He did not want to get the ball back in the hands of Derek Carr. He wanted to have control over this game. And he understands when it's okay to take the risk, what the pros and cons are of every single decision. He weighs them out. The dude's an analytical genius, a football-minded mastermind. And what we witnessed on Monday was some of the best coaching I've seen from the Chargers in a long time. Going for it on 4th down, the big challenge that was huge. He challenged that play. I remember screaming at the TV, challenge the play, and he did challenge the play. And we got the ball back and scored. You got to take these risks. It's football. This is not some sport where you can sit back and let things happen and hope to get the win. You got to go out and get it. You got to take it. And Brandon Staley understands that. These risks, these rewards, absolutely so fun for a Chargers fan to watch, because finally we're starting to see the Chargers move in the right direction where it's like we're going to compete. We're not just going to sit back and see what happens. We are going to compete and take that win. It also feels like Staley has something special planned for every single team, especially defensively. He doesn't allow big plays. He focuses on shutting down opponents' strengths, in this case Derek Carr in the run game. He shut that down on Monday. And he knows the weaknesses of a team and exposes them. Derek Carr falls under pressure. That's his kryptonite. And we went after him. We exposed it. We exposed the Raiders on Monday, and it feels absolutely fantastic. Not only that, though, I mean, his supporting cast, Joe Lombardi, dude, he knew how to attack the Raiders as well. The tight ends were the secret weapon here, were they not? The tight ends. It feels like the Raiders certainly shut down our other receivers, Mike Williams and Keenan Allen, but they knew exactly how to move the ball regardless of that. They got Jared Cook involved, Donald Parham, even Steven Anderson. The man went up for 34 yards in a wheel route. They understood where the coverage was going to be, where it was going to be its strongest, where the double teams are going to be. Let's just get those uncovered guys, those wide open guys, some plays. And they made it happen. Cook and Parham are fantastic. All of these guys, fantastic. The tight ends definitely came to play. Not to mention the run game. It feels like, again, the Raiders sold out to stop the Chargers featured wide receivers in Mike Williams and Keenan Allen. They sold out. You know what that did? It created an opportunity for the Chargers to take control of the ground game. Ground and pound. Austin Ekeler. And the run game was fantastic. Many think the Chargers don't have a bell cow running back. That might be true with the archetype of running back that Austin Ekeler is, but he is still fantastic. And he had a big night. 135 yards and 2 touchdowns. Are you kidding me? I'm sure fantasy managers all over the world were super excited to see that. And again, with the Raiders focusing so hard in stopping Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, the coaching staff understood what was happening in front of them and made adjustments. They said, all right, looks like this is a run game. Let's give it to Austin Ekeler. We trust Austin Ekeler. And he made a lot of things happen. A lot of beautiful things happen. Chargers made them pay with Eck and Roundtree. 7.8 yards per carry. I wanted to throw that stat out there before we move on. 7.8 yards per carry. That's what the Chargers coaching staff recognized, and that's what Austin Ekeler and Roundtree did in order to make the Raiders pay for that decision. Lastly, we got to talk about this man right here, Justin Herbert, who again makes a strong case, building a strong resume for MVP this season. He dominated in the first half. 20 for 25, 170 yards, 3 touchdowns. Absolutely so fantastic. Yes, in the second half, the Raiders were able to adjust. I think they started throwing a lot of pressure at Justin Herbert, attacking the right side of the line with Storm Norton, and it did definitely cause Justin Herbert to struggle just a little bit. But the first half, wowzers. That's a good game for some quarterbacks for the entire game. Just completion after completion. He just makes plays, moves the chains. He's almost impossible to stop. He's been very, very efficient this week. And you know what, honestly, he's so clutch on 3rd and 4th down. I wouldn't know what to do if I was a defensive coordinator against him. He's one of, if not the best in the league at 3rd and 4th down. He just makes it happen. Yes, a few hiccups, maybe with some overthrown balls, but it's a small blemish on an otherwise perfect night for Justin Herbert. And this team trusts him, man. They call plays to feature Justin Herbert, to feature his talent. It's very evident by the way this team is operating on offense that they trust Justin Herbert to go out there and win these games. He's got the right weapons around him. He's got, all the potential in the world to be one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Why not trust that? And that's something we didn't see a lot of last year. It's time to let Justin Herbert cook, and this coaching staff is letting that happen. He's the engine that keeps this offense running. We're recognizing that, we're paying dividends to that and respecting that, and Justin Herbert is now one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and honestly one of the biggest to be feared as far as our future opponents are concerned. Very, very cool. Now, a couple of things we do need to work out. Penalties. We still need to sort that out. I think the Raiders sustained drives offensively due to penalties for the most part. Picking up, I think their first down was due to a penalty. The PI called against Asante Samuel Jr., that set them up to score. Very, very, very costly penalties for the Chargers, throughout the game. And there were some that maybe were bogus. I have Joey Bosa up on right here. He was very upset on one, but still it needs cleaning up. We're going to see bogus calls every single week. It's just kind of part of the game now, right? Another thing the Chargers definitely need to look at is the receivers. I don't know if I'm super concerned about them this week, but I did need to cover it because they did have an off day. I do think some Chargers fans are a little bit concerned. But Mike Williams and Keenan got bottled up all night. They did. That's just kind of the reality of it. But again, like we said, with the coaching staff and their adjustments, it was really the Raiders just selling out for a lot of double teams. It just really selling out against the pass right there, especially in the second half. And the Chargers, they made adjustments. They started to establish the run very aggressively, and that's a big reason that led us to the win on Monday as well. We do have to also say Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, they did have a few big drops this game too. So hopefully they get that cleaned up. I don't know if that's a sign of something with these receivers. I don't think so. I just think he's one of those kinds of games where the game script didn't, necessarily tilt in their favor. And that's okay. That's okay. And lastly, the second half protection for the Chargers in this offensive line. You'll see Storm Norton right there. The Raiders certainly knew and understood the weak link on this offensive line. They attacked it. They swarmed Storm Norton in the second half of the game. And I'll say, Norton had a bad game on Monday. The Raiders line is very exceptional, so we can't put it all on him. But the Chargers do need to figure something out at right tackle. I'm sort of hopeful that they try something, with Matt Filer or something at right tackle. We'll have to wait and see, but that is something to kind of monitor. Outside of that, the special teams are showing signs of improvement. The Chargers, again, fewer and fewer penalties every single week that are so costly. I don't know. Everything starts seeming to trend up for the Bolts, and I'm very excited. So Chargers fans, What was some of your favorite moments from this game on Monday night? I will say my favorite was probably the Derwin James interception to seal the game. Derwin needed that first interception, that first turnover of the season, and he got it. And it was a very, very good feeling for Chargers fans because it feels like so often we're in these situations where it's like we're not sure if we're going to win. We're up 21, and we've seen it happen so many times. Joey Bosa said this, that, oh my God, is this going to be the one? Is this going to be the one that we actually close out? And that moment with Derwin James sealed the deal and allowed us to celebrate as Chargers fans. So let me know in the comment section your guys' favorite moments from the Monday night game. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining me. This has been The Director. Hit us up with a like and sub on your way out if you did enjoy this content. We'll see you next time. And as always, bolt up and stay frosty.